I don't know about you, but I've reached a point where one of the hardest parts of sewing is not actually the sewing, but deciding what is worth making. Patterns are expensive, fabric is definitely expensive, and I don't have unlimited time in which to sew. So what I make is super important, probably more important than how I make it. Going forward this year, so 2026, as I film this, there are a few questions I want to ask myself before I tackle a project. And I'm going to walk you through the process I'm adopting, hoping that maybe you'll get some wisdom or nuggets or ideas out of it that will also be helpful for you. If you're new here, my name is Izzy, and on this channel, I just love to share my sewing adventures, what I'm learning, what I'm discovering, and yeah, all of that good stuff. So hopefully you enjoyed the video and decide to subscribe to the channel. All right, so first thing I really want to consider and ask myself before moving forward with a project is, can I picture this garment in 2, ideally 3 outfits? So, and I've talked about this, before in other videos. I have a real fear of orphan garments. And throughout the years, I've sewn many of them. Those are the garments that hang in your closet, never reached for, because they don't go with anything else in your closet. So, or it's just a type of garment or a style of garment I will never reach for. So before I make anything, I really want to ask myself, does it go with things already in my closet? So can I make 2 or 3 actual outfits with this garment? Not just oh, this looks okay for Instagram pictures or to film a YouTube video with, but will I actually wear this garment? Will it get a ton of wear, if I do make it? So that's the first thing. Now, I might want to make something, and today it might not fit great in my wardrobe because I have nothing else, but someday it might. So all of these questions I'm going to ask myself moving forward, I might need to ask myself them a few times, or even put some patterns and fabric combinations on a wish list, like on Stash Hub, which I have a membership for, on, my someday list. But before I cut into my valuable resources, I will ask myself if I'm going to be wearing that garment in actual outfits numerous times. The next thing I want to consider before making something is, does this actually fill a gap in my wardrobe, or is it going to create problems? So sometimes you end up making something and then you realize, oh, I don't really have the right shoes to wear with these pants, or I don't have the right booties to wear with that dress, or I don't have any tights that will go with this dress, or, oh, well, if I make this, that means I need a cardigan or a jacket, or. So before I make anything, I want to make sure that the item is not going to create a problem in my wardrobe, that it's actually going to fill a gap. Now, this does not mean that I'm not going to sometimes move forward with the garment anyways, but then add whatever it needs to become an outfit to my list right away. Because if I don't, that thing is just going to go to my closet to sit there and never get worn. The other thing too is, I don't want to shop for shoes or bags or anything really unless I absolutely need them. And if I buy a pair of shoes or boots or whatever, I want to be able to wear them with more than just one outfit. So the whole wardrobe needs to be considered before I make my decision. So that is question number 2 I'm going to ask myself. third thing to consider before I jump into a pattern is, will I enjoy making this? There are techniques and things that some of us just don't enjoy sewing or just don't enjoy having to go through. An example for me is gathering. I do not like gathering. This does not mean I'll never again make a pattern that has gathering in it. I'm sure I will, because I do love, the gathered skirts or layered skirts, for example. But if I'm planning a make or a bunch of makes for a month or for a season, I might not put a bunch of patterns on my list that have gathering in them. There are also some techniques that, I might never want to sew again. And that's okay, but I definitely need to consider that before I make a plan or before I cut into my fabric. Last year I made a bathing suit, which was very successful. It fit me really, really well. I absolutely love it, but it was painful to get through. Like, some of the techniques in there were tedious, very small pieces, lots of notions I needed to buy. And I don't know that I need to make this type of garment numerous times throughout the year. Maybe once a year is enough. Maybe never again. But I do need to think about it before I go all out, buy a pattern, buy fabric, then cut into the fabric, only for that project to basically sit there in a pile because I just can't bear to go through the pain of making it. The fourth thing I'm going to consider when making plans or when deciding on projects is the fit challenge I'm likely to run into worth the effort? So there are some fit adjustments I know I need that are pretty basic, that I now know how to do, and that I need on most patterns. And I'm okay with that. I don't want to avoid fit adjustments, but sometimes you look at a line drawing and you're like, oof, I've never done this, or I've never done that. Or there are so many pieces that adjusting each piece of the pattern might prove to be a bigger challenge than you're willing to take on in this particular moment. So I'm not saying that I'll never put fit challenges on my to make list, but maybe I'm going to be choosy about the time of year, the season in my life, and what else is going on work-wise or sewing-wise before I add one of those projects to my list. I have to be in a certain mindset. I have to be in a certain mood before I tackle really complicated fit problems. So I need to be aware of that before I put garments on my list. Maybe, learning how to fit a really fitted pair of jeans, for example, probably not the best to try and do that in the middle of Vlogmas. So I need to be aware of what is going to be a fit challenge for me, and then when would be best to tackle those. So that is reflection or consideration number 4. And the last thing I want to think about before adding a project to my list or cut into fabric is this item something I really want to make, or did I add it to the list because everybody else is making it? So is this something that's trendy and therefore I just want to get in and be, part of the cool crowd? Or is this something I really, really want and know will look good on me? So this one, though, is I want to be really careful with, because I don't want to jump on a trend just for the sake of it, but I do want to keep things fun and interesting. I want to keep learning. I want to keep growing. I haven't fully figured out what my style is yet or what looks really good on me. So I want to be careful not to say no to something automatically when it's trendy without really thinking through, would this look good on me, or could this look good on me? Would this fit my lifestyle? All of that good stuff. But I also want to leave room for experimenting with new styles and new garments. So there's going to be like a bit of a balancing act for me in the coming year or in the future between trying new things that I think might work and then just jumping on a trend because it's trendy. So that's something I really want to stop and consider. And I think that will help me not have many projects I'll regret sewing. Not that I have a ton of those, but the ones I've regretted making were really something usually that I've seen out there that everybody was making, and then it just didn't work. It didn't fit my lifestyle, my style. It just didn't feel like me at all. But on the other hand, the lane pants, I jumped on that trend and I ended up absolutely loving that pattern, making it numerous times. So yeah, it's all about balance in this one for me. So this is the process I'm going to try to go through at least this year and see how it goes. I'm sure it will evolve. I'm sure things will change. But for now, I think this will help more projects be successful ones. I think it'll help more me-made garments getting created and worn on repeat. It'll also probably slow me down a little bit and force me to really think about what I'm adding to my list, why I'm adding it to my list, and then really follow through on those that I feel really, really good about. So I would love to know, what is your process for deciding what patterns to make and what fabrics to use? Do you have a method? Do you have questions you ask yourself? I would love to know that in the comments. Or are you like me up until now and basically think about potential gaps, look at things on YouTube or Instagram and just go with the flow type thing? I would love to know what your process is. Thank you so much for watching today. Please give the video a like on your way out if you liked it, and I will see you soon.